G'day folks, Jaden Drat here with the Farm Trader magazine, and here we are at the South Island Agricultural Field Days, and behind me is again another situation where one of these things does not look like the other. We're at the telehandler showcase, folks, and here behind me is the Schäffer, and this is a German-built machine, family-owned company, and what we've got here is actually called a pivoting telescopic handler. So as you can see, the other side mount telehandlers have the boom obviously on the right-hand side of the cab, and here we've got the cab mounted in the middle, drives more like a tractor with that pivoting front boom. There's lots of cool features about this machine, particularly very, very popular in the UK, have certainly trended in popularity in recent years, and there's plenty of features to see why that is. Let's go and check them out. Around the front here, as you can see, this has got its own Schäffer hitch. However, there are multiple hitch options from factory. You can get Manitou, the Q-Fit hitch, for example. This has got the Schäffer, however, and we've been using the Schäffer own bucket and forks here for moving the metal and the bales around, and it works fantastic. We've got our third function here. There is the ability to have a 3A, 3B, or fourth function, whatever you want to call it. So that is the red caps here. Blue cap on the other side is a high flow return in case you're running a broom or a trimmer, for example, and we've also got the hydraulic latching. One of the differences between the others is the hydraulic ram mounted on the top. That allows this boom to extend to 5.3 metres, so 5.3 metre reach on this one, 4.2 tonnes, so it's one of the heavier lifting capacities that we've got here. And the main reason why this ram is on top is because our crowd ram here, or where this kind of gooseneck works, that ram is tucked all the way in there and adds a significant amount of strength and keeps that head nice and compact. So that's a great feature. This little thing here is for the power for the third service, and that just retracts and expands as we go. So yeah, the key takeaway points here is 5.3 metres and 4.2 tonne. As you can see under here, we've got the two rams under the main boom. So this first one is our main lift ram, and the other one is the equalizer, essentially, which offers that self-leveling through to the crowd ram here. Huge amount of steel here. Again, you know, that's a testament to German build quality, which are renowned for, and certainly easily greasable, but certainly a lot of strength in these pivot points. Another thing that adds a significant amount of strength to this machine as opposed to a conventional telehandler is that because it pivots in the middle, these ZF axles actually don't move. So they're fixed, they're 10 stud, heavy duty, they've got inboard limited slip diff as well as brakes, and that drive line and all of this is obviously maintenance free. Couple of grease points on the main shaft that comes from the front to the back and at the pivot, but when this is under load, given the fact that it doesn't have kingpins with wheels turning at the end, means this has got a huge amount of strength in it, and it is the reason why it can lift so much. Another key feature of the pivot steer is that all of this weight is right at the back of the machine. So you've got that load at the front, those axles that can handle it. The ZF axle at the back here actually pivots, so side to side, that gives the machine a little bit of flexibility over the undulations. However, right at the back here, this is a huge cast part here, which the drawbar is attached to, and there's also a massive steel plate here and under the back of the machine, which not only protects it when it's on things like silage stacks, for example, but also adds a significant amount of weight. We've also got the steel mudguards around the back here, but there's also 460 tyres on this one, which it can go up to 700, so certainly plenty of tyre options, but the tyre is still the widest point of the machine, so it's going to be pretty hard to damage those guards. If we now look at the engine itself, this is a Deutz 3.6 litre 4-cylinder engine, 143 horsepower, max horsepower that is. It requires AdBlue, so it's Tier 4B, this machine, and that drives a 172 litre a minute pump. Again, it's you know, right at the back of the machine, big large radiator, sucks air from the top here. The general consensus is that the air around the back of the cab is the cleanest of any part of the machine, so that sucks that nice clean air, keeps this engine nice and cool and blows it out the back. It's also got a hydraulic reversible fan here, and the other thing that you'll notice is it's nice and high. Perfect for daily maintenance, so checking around everything's at waist height, and also for working on the engine. Again, everything's at waist height, which was fantastic for the mechanics. We now move to the back here. It's got a Bill Bennett pickup hitch. These are the same manufacturer that make the pickup hitches for Fendt tractors, and it's also unique comparative to the others because you just undo these little lock nuts here, and this thing can flip to the side or completely upside down if you want to for when you're using it on silage pits. Obviously, you don't whack it on the concrete or the wall, for example. We've also got, obviously that's run from the rear outlet, we've also got a high flow return over on this side and a reversing camera as well, which is operated from in the cab. As you can see up in the cab, it's nice and easy to get up thanks to the steps. So very, very similar to a tractor cab. Again, one of the many benefits, we've got a passenger seat, which is very unlikely to be found in a normal telescopic handler. And that is, again, one of the pros of the pivot steer. So the door swings right round. It's not a two-piece door like the telehandlers, which some people might or might not like, but it swings right round. Plenty of visibility out the side, all the way around the cab, thanks to this large curved windscreen. We've got our tiltable steering column here, and then all of our controls are on the right-hand side. So this is the T2 series, so it's actually a 9640, this machine. So the 96 stands for about its operating weight of 9.6 tonne, and then the 40 is the lifting weight of about 4 tonne. However, this particular machine is 4.2 tonne. We've got plenty of, I guess, switches all the way around, again colour coded, so safety's red, hydraulics are orange, lighting and then some of the electrical functions are blue and grey, and then our transmission is green, and that's mainly for the eco function here, which is unique to the 40k eco transmission in this machine. So it's a 2-stage hydrostat, so when you're driving it, moving around the yard, lifting bales, it reacts exactly like a hydrostat, but then on the road it does that shifting on the go. You don't need to stop and change ranges or anything like that, but you get that eco, so it drops down on the road to save some fuel, so it's fantastic. In terms of the joystick here, again for the T2 model, this is it's still an electric joystick, but in the T3 model, which is the upgraded one, you know, it's slightly different in here in the cab, more of a digital display kind of feel about it. And you've also got the Electro-Pilot joystick, which is similar to those larger diggers and bits and bobs. In terms of functionality, forward reverse is on the joystick itself, and then you've obviously got your boom in and out, crowd, lift, tilt, third service, hydraulic latching, as well as operating the hitch at the back. In terms of what it's like to drive, it really is quite different to a telescopic handler. The visibility is very, very good, and in terms of moving bales around, we created a tight corner, and you just cruise in, turn it around, and it sort of sucks right in at the side there, and is very, very manoeuvrable. You may lose a little bit in terms of genuine turning circle versus a 4-wheel steer, but it's marginal from what we've found, and I think the flexibility of going around those corners and manoeuvrability in sheds would far outweigh what, you know, that really, really tight turning circle might be. Reverse cameras down to the right hand side here, but all in all, it's a pretty safe and spacious place to spend the day. As we mentioned, the key difference here is that it's pivoting telescopic, right, rather than just a straight telescopic loader. And the reason why we have so much strength in those axles and the fact that they don't need to turn with kingpins, etc., is this part here. As you can see, it's got a sealed pivot top and bottom. These are completely maintenance free. You don't need to pump grease into them. They're sealed, and there's also nylon in there as well as the packed grease, so they're pre-packed right from factory, and that allows it to essentially self-lubricate. That means that, you know, while the beauty of pumping grease into them may allow some dust to get in there as well, so them being fully sealed actually makes them last significantly longer. You've got, as mentioned, grease nipples here on the rams itself, but again, as you can see, much larger surface area here in the pivot point, and that combined with the fixed axles and the huge amount of metal in this thing, it's easy to see why the longer service life is achieved. If we now look at the top 5 reasons why you should consider a Schäffer machine from George and the team at Icon Machinery, it has to be build quality for me. People dealing with people. George is very particular about the brands that he brings in because he has to stand behind it. It's his name on the side of the machine. That's no different to the Schäffer brand. They're a family-owned company and they stand behind every machine that they sell. Relatively low volume, 2,500 machines a year, but that is because they only do pivot steer telescopic loaders. That is their niche and they really stick to it, and the build quality really shows. The amount of steel in this machine is really impressive and certainly helps with that 9.6 tonne tier weight. If we then move on to number 2, and that's the low maintenance and how that weight is distributed through the machine. So first up, we've got our fixed axles, non-pivoting at the front, and they also don't turn. That moves to the third reason why you should buy this machine, sealed pivot. right? So that's nylon and grease packed. It's done from the factory, huge surface area for that wear point, and that makes the machine very stable. If we then look at reason 4, and that's all of the steel in the back end. So obviously with the pivot you've got all of that weight in the front, that means you need a lot of weight at the back. That's where the 3.6 litre 143 horsepower engine sits. It drives the 172 litre per minute pump, and there's a huge amount of steel in the back end there. The other reason why the engine's perfectly mounted back there is it's at chest height. Not only does that make daily maintenance nice and easy, but in terms of serviceability, you're working on things at chest height here, which makes it fantastic. And lastly, it has to be the visibility and manoeuvrability of this machine. We were very impressed, particularly moving bales around, by how manoeuvrable and versatile this machine is. It's more like a tractor cab, right? You've got a passenger seat, visibility all round, plenty of room, aircon, curved windscreen, keeps you nice and cool during the day, and the visibility all round was top notch. Check out the upcoming review of this machine and the others in the telescopic handler showcase that we had at the South Island Field Days in our winter issue of the Farm Trader magazine. If you also head to farmtrader.co.nz, we've got thousands of news and reviews on machines just like this, and if you keep an eye on the socials, you'll see what we're up to.